All right. Once again, Mr. Chairman, my colleagues on the PTF team, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your interventions, those who have been able to make interventions. I think the first question had to do with the advocacy, I will call it, of the survivors of COVID-19. That is, those who had been treated and have survived it, coming to tell their own stories, and now advocating the need for mass testing. And secondly, the need to change strategy. First is to thank those survivors who have been bold enough to come out to share their experiences and let the doubting Thomases know that truly COVID-19 exists. It's not one of the situations where you will want to say experience is the best teacher. But again, experience has shown that people want to believe the evidence before their eyes. So we thank God for these ones. Yes, we agree that there is need for increased testing. The limitation we have at this point in time is the fact that more labs are being opened because the PCR-based testing method that we use may not give us the mass testing that we really require. We are limited because we are not using the rapid test kit, and it's because it's not been certified by the WHO, aside the margin of error. But then we take it that the challenge, and we believe that the NCDC is working hard on it. You will recall that we started from just about 5 laboratories, PCR-based, and now we have 13. And I recall that sometime last week or thereabout, the DG of our NCDC was here to tell us that the challenge even now has to do with people coming forward to be tested and the associated logistics. So I'm saying that in spite of the 13 laboratories that are presently functional, we can still do more if people show up to be tested. And we will improve in that regard. Of course, the issue of having to change strategy is inevitable because we have moved into community transmission. And therefore, we need to ramp up our response activities. We know the whole thing started from Lagos, which used to be the epicenter. But as we are moving on now, we can see that there's a rapid spread. So it means we also have to move to test more, to isolate more, and of course, to treat more where treatment is really required. So it has never been a situation of one size fits all. We know that along the line, as the situation demands, we will need to be innovative in our approach, or creative, and be adaptive, and also be flexible. And that's one of the things, or that's one of the reasons why we advise our people to use a face mask, and that it doesn't have to be the regular type, as some of us are using right now. It doesn't have to be medical mask or surgical mask. It could just be any cotton material that is suitable, that we can wash, and we believe that this will go a long way to help. I think the question from Etire, if I remember very well, it has to do with what has been the outcome, or how far with the traditional, complementary, and alternative medicine in terms of remedy for COVID-19. Yes, I remember that some time ago I did say that there had been requests made by some practitioners of herbal medicine laying claims to having remedies that could help or treat COVID-19. I remember I did say then that we encourage these people to come forward with their remedy. But these remedies, they have to go through the proper protocol of assessing the efficacy. It's not enough for people to make claims, but we need to subject such claims to the protocol for assessment. And in this regard, the traditional, complementary, and alternative medicine department of the ministry, as well as the National Institute of Pharmaceutical Research and Development, they're working together to look at these claims being made. But I can also tell you that a lot of times, some of those who make this claim, they fail to really come up with their remedies for proper protocol of assessment. Then there was a question regarding the certification on polio. Yes, the team, the African team that came around to assess our readiness, they came and we were given a clean bill of health. That is, that we were doing well as we approach the D-Day, which is supposed to be June, a couple of months from now. So they went around all the regions, the geopolitical zones, for their assessment. They came in first to let us know what they want to do. And after moving around the 6 geopolitical zones, they also came back to give us a feedback. And the bottom line is that they were satisfied with what they saw in the various places they visited. So that gave us hope, and we're very excited for the report they gave. And so we are still working towards that, and we believe in the grace of God that come June, Nigeria will be certified polio free. Yes, we are not neglecting the other diseases like Lassa fever you mentioned. We are getting reports from the various states, particularly those states that appear to be the epicenter, and we have not really had the rise in the figures. So, which means that we are not really having new cases. And what we know about Lassa fever is that it has a period where there is a spike, and that's usually towards the end of the dry season. So it's like that period is kind of over, because we're not really having outbreak as we had earlier on in the year. I think Friday, your question was directed to that has to do with what we're doing regarding the situation in Kano. I'm sure the 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 national coordinator will talk more about this, but I can just say that ordinarily what we will do, part of what we will do is to increase the support for Kano. You recall that Kano and Lagos, they have the highest population, and naturally we will be worried what Kano or what Lagos has is also what Kano has in terms of population, in terms of the density of this population, and in terms of activities, commercial and otherwise. So we need to do more of contact tracing where we can. We will need to do more testing and more isolation, and of course treatment where we need to as well. I think the issue that was raised regarding Uyo, I hope I got it right, that is being looked into, and the NCDC will give us an update on it. I think the last I have here is testing for health workers. Well, for me, the testing for health workers will be both. That is, the first being routine testing, and of course the second one is as indicated. That is, if a health worker comes with symptoms that are suggestive, that health worker will necessarily need to be tested. And of course, under the basic guideline, if a health worker in any way has come in contact with COVID-19 positive case, that health worker naturally knows that he or she will have to go into self-isolation for the 14-day period. But as much as possible, what the Ministry of Health and other relevant agencies are doing is to ensure that our health workers, they are properly protected. And I did mention this in my earlier report, because we need to protect our health workers so that they are not unduly exposed. This is the basic thing, in fact, it's the minimum that we owe our health workers. We want to be sure that they are well protected, and if and when the need arises for them to be tested, they will be tested accordingly. But I'm saying that in addition, there may be need for any health worker who reasonably feels that he or she has been exposed to submit himself for routine testing. Thank you.
The National